Man, it's getting ready to have a cold start. Ghost truck. Got a cold start going. We're going to go on a talk about or a drive about as soon as I get going here. Well, I hope you can hear me. Hope it's not too loud. 4-inch pipe from the turbo clear back in the tailpipe. Gets a little rumble going, but it's okay. Like I said before, there's two types of trucks in this world. Ones with diesel engines and the rest of them. So with that being said, I thought we'd have a little talk. Back in about March, when all the PRC virus was starting to hit, I told my kids 2020 is going to be the year that wasn't. Meaning I could see the writing on the wall then. Anything to put some in power, to make some think they have power, and to get as many of us to fall in line as they could, was the end objective for a lot of those people. Not all of them. A lot of them. You know. There is, I don't know who coined the term, the swamp, if it was actually President Trump or not. But he used it a lot and still uses it. He's right. There is a swamp. And I don't care if you're a Democrat, communist, Republican. Most of them, when they get behind closed doors, there's no difference. They don't have the best interest of you and I at heart. Your families, your friends, your neighbors. They care less. You know, when they started shutting everything down, when governors of blue states, mayors of blue cities, communist states, will start shutting things down, them and their comrades doesn't affect. We're going to be paying them regardless. People locally, they don't care about a place like Dick and Judy's. They don't care about Liz's at North Salem. They care less. They say they do. Oh, we got these programs in place that'll make all the difference in the world. Yeah, that's crap. That's being kind. So anyway, getting back to my original story, I told the kids, I said, you know, this is 2020 the year that wasn't. And I thought about that all year. Every time the government would do something stupid, I think, wow, that didn't really make sense, but you know, what do we expect? You know, wear a mask, don't wear a mask, it helps to wear a mask, it doesn't help to wear a mask, don't social together, you know, they try to blame it all on family get-togethers now, they try to blame it all on, or don't blame it all on the holidays, you know, when we get through the summer it'll all be good, you know, and it's all a bunch of crap. Common sense and what you're comfortable doing is what matters. It's all that matters. So anyway, I told the kids. Now I'm going to have to back up and go a little bit farther back. We, and I say we, my family, the Mrs. General, myself, my dogs, my turtle, whole family, kids, grandkids, I look back and we've had great 3 or 4 years. Matter of fact, my first raise, I worked for a pretty good manufacturing company, pretty big. And for 8 years plus, we didn't have a raise. And I believe in 2016, actually, after the election in 2015, of this 60, we got our first raise in that many years. It's a good thing. 2018, I retired. Probably wouldn't have done that if previous people had still been in charge. Going to 2019, we thought 2019 was not a great year, mainly because my wife lost her mom. And it's tough to lose your mom. I haven't experienced that yet, but I know it's tough to lose your mom. But I got to think about that, my wife and I had to talk about this the other day. The bright spot in all that was she suffered very little. I know Papa had to put up with her declining health the last few months, more than we knew about, but she didn't seem to suffer much. She fell and fractured her hip, destroyed her hip, and ended up being confined to a bed. Never seemed to be uncomfortable, never seemed to be in any pain. And when it was all said and done, the Lord got to take her away from her own home, from her house. And I always thought that was a blessing. And some people can't say that. A lot of people can't say that. So actually 2019, I look at that as a plus. She had a disease that was incurable, and the Lord took her home in a minimal amount of time. And also in 2019, we bought a new Winnebago camper trailer, and we hadn't had a camper for several years. And through mother-in-law's ill health, we bought it in July, and we didn't get to use it. I thought that was a negative. Turns out that was a positive. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But also in 2019, the Mrs. General changed jobs, changed employers, and between going from one job to the other, we were able to take a trip to the East Coast, North Carolina to be exact, see my sister and brother-in-law, niece, spend a week or so there, then drive back through Georgia, Alabama, up through Tennessee, Arkansas, and go see my daughter and son-in-law and 2 of the twin grandbabies at Fort Sill in Lawton, Oklahoma. And we spent some time on the road, but we spent 2 or 3 weeks with them. We were gone about a month in 2019. So 2019, I have to say, was a good year. Now 2020 rolls around. Starts out great. Nice end of the year. Of course, a nice Christmas for 2019. We were able to make a trip. My son-in-law, to back up the story, he's in service, and he went to Fort Lewis McChord in Washington. So there, they got there right before Thanksgiving, I believe, in 2019, and got settled in as best they could. We flew out there in February, visit them. Had a great visit. Got to see a little bit of the sights. Got to see the Space Needle. Pikes Market was open. Tour that. Had a really good visit. Of course, the main visit with the family. Great time. So that was a positive in 2020. We got home. The first weekend we were home, we went to the Boat Sport Travel Show. And my son and daughter-in-law, my son's mother-in-law, I believe, and the grandkids, twins also, purchased a camper. And there's a YouTube video about it. And as I'm looking back now, had we not have bought our camper in 2019 and already had it in 2020, you know, I don't know that they would have bought a camper then. You know, I can't speculate, but I in my heart, I don't think they would have. But since we had one, and we talked about all the good, they knew all the good times we'd had, they decided, you know, now's the time. Well, before they even get the camper home, just like I said, this is right into February, 1st of March, Boat Sport Travel Show. Probably in February. When we got home from Washington. And the PRC virus hit. I got a call from my daughter in Washington. That was one of the first place we really heard about it here. And she says everything is shutting down. We can't buy anything. Says you better get your hands on just the basics, toilet paper. We've seen shortage of it. We were fortunate. We had already had half a beef butchered and half a hog. Well, the whole beef was butchered and the whole hog was butchered, but we shared. And we were very fortunate. We didn't have to want for any protein, any meat, and just the two of us. Too bad. But yeah, and then it started here. So at the time, I'm still telling the kids all the time, 2020 is going to be the year that wasn't. But for all that, the kids, since they were one of the first ones to get their order in on their camper, they got theirs. The RV industry shut down for a month or two, and is still struggling to get parts. But they shut down. But they were lucky; they got theirs. It was a few weeks behind, but they got it. I mean, they were very fortunate. So we were able to, I think our first weekend out, we went to Metamora, Indiana. And it may have been Memorial Weekend. My memories, anyway, I can't remember for sure what. Anyway, over the summer, I know we spent the 4th of July weekend at Metamora, got to see the fireworks. They did have a great fireworks show. Anyway, along the summer, I believe we spent 8 weekends camping. And that's with Tyler and Sarah in their new camper, the grandkids, Sarah's mom, my daughter, our little daughter was able to camp with us sometimes. So we had a great summer camping. I think it was 8 weekends. Sometime of, you know, a Friday night, Saturday, don't leave on Sunday. And there was a few Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday deals. We had a great weekend camping. And then literally the last weekend we camped, which I believe was for Sarah's birthday, daughter-in-law's birthday, we camped and we made plans. We think about going out west. And through all that, the deal was, in the spring, in the shutdown, the people my wife worked for, because of the PRC virus, she worked from home for 2 months. Didn't go go into the office a few evenings a week when nobody was there. We'd go over and she'd do the things she had to do, get done there, but very minimally and nothing in the daytime. No, basically they were shut down, but they were still working, but from home. So my son-in-law was going to have to make about a month-long trip to Guam for whatever reason. He doesn't even know for sure. So he left right before the twins' birthday. Well, this is my first stop. I'm running errands today. Let's see. I'll try to remember where I was at. Right before the twins' first birthday. So where was I at? Oh, when Tatum and John's twins were just shy of 1 year old, he was deployed to go to Kuwait for about 9 months. So Tatum and the twins came back home and lived with us while he was gone. So fast forward to now. They'd been telling them all summer long and then through the spring that they were probably going to have to go to Guam. But then with the PRC virus, the Army kind of hummed and hollered around. We want to take them, we want to do this, we want to do that. And didn't really think they were going to have to go. Well, along about, I don't know, middle of July, early July. Yep, we're going. Definitely, you guys are going to have to go for about 30 days. And probably going to leave right before the twins' birthday. So, fortunate for them, John's mom and dad, sister and brother-in-law, got to fly out and spend a week with him right before John left. So, then Tatum was kind of wanting us to come out with her for part of that time when John was gone. So, she talked to her bosses, and with the experience of working that they had and she had working from home early in the year, they said, yeah, that's no problem. You work from the road. So, with her laptop computer, technically my laptop computer, we decided, well, we'll take off. We'll head out there and get out there after John's mom and dad leaves. We didn't want to encroach on their visitation time, and then we'll leave get out there after that and spend time with the whole month or however long John's gone, and then hang around until he gets back and get to visit with him a while when he gets back. So we left, I believe, the last day of August, right around there somewhere, for the West Coast, Washington, Seattle area, Spanaway, Puyallup. They actually live in Puyallup, which is a suburb of Spanaway, which is almost a suburb of Seattle. It's like, you get out there, the big cities are sign separated, basically. So we take off. We make a few stops on the way. We stop in LeClaire, Iowa. First you gotta stop Badlands, Sturgis, Mount Rushmore, Bowling. I mean, we just saw so many sites going to, and went out there. Anyway, to make a long story longer, we were gone 52 days, 7,033.3 miles, put 154 hours on the truck, and came back home. Great visit, great trip. Man, I just can't say enough. So I got to think about this the other day. 2020, the year that wasn't. You know what? 2020 was really the year that was. We got to travel literally drive on the beach, Pacific Ocean. See family. And then camp 8 weekends with family all summer, you know, from May through August. So I have to say 2020 was a great year. When I look back on the happenings last 3 or 4 years, it's been great. I can't complain. I know there's a lot of people that don't like our president, but he's done a great job. We've had a good economy. He's managed to initiate some sort of peace in the Middle East. He's managed to keep North Korea from blowing anybody up, including us. And he's taken a lot of flack for all that. For even talking to some of these people. But, you know, on one hand, we're told from the time we're little until we die, you know, communication is the best form to get along. And then all of a sudden, you can't talk to him. And he's talked to everybody. He's pulling back troops from the Middle East, from around the world. We're in places we don't belong. So I'm for that. I'm for most of the things he's done. Because I think it's been good for the country. Now, with that being said, you know, we've got this PRC virus, and from day one, the expert after experts after experts said there's no way we're going to have a vaccine. It's, you know, I mean, I heard numbers like 3 or 4 years. 3 or 4 years. And President Trump said, you know what? We cut through some of the red tape. You have to remember, there's a lot of bureaucracy involved when you have the government. I hope everybody out there realize that. So anything that has anything to do with the government, there's so much bureaucracy. Remember, they're the largest employer in the country, probably the largest employer in the world is the United States government. So there is hurdles, red tape, on more hurdles, you know, keep all these people employed. And I think his thought was, if we cut through all that red tape, we make sure that report gets directly to that guy that needs to see it, rather than go through this guy, this lady, this guy, this lady. We can get this done a lot quicker. And he told us from day one, there's a good possibility we'll see a vaccine this year. Here we have two companies, 90% effective rate. So hopefully that'll suppress the fears in a lot of people. Hopefully people will quit looking at the communist as a better idea. Because I skip the word progressives, socialists, Democrats. I just go all the way to communists, because that's what many of them want in the leadership. You know, they want control. They don't give a crap what happens to you and me. It's all about control. So anyway, that's kind of my drive-about thoughts for the day. And what the heck, do this chat again. I kind of like these chats. Except it did make me forget about one of the stops. And one of the errands, I'm having to backtrack now. One of the errands I was supposed to take care of, I forgot, so I'm backtracking now. But that's okay. Make sure I get this drive-about in. And maybe we can chat later. Remember, always check that you like the video. Give it a thumbs up. And subscribe. And give it a like. See ya. God bless you. God bless America. Say a prayer for somebody today. See ya.